Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards' first title fight, not including Kamaru Usman. Colby's fourth title fight.
He had an interim fight,
I don't know.
right? So like technically it's 4.
Yeah, right. He had the two against He
Usman.
had the two against Usman. This one, and then the interim I think was against RDA back
Yeah,
in like 2018. I think it was.
yeah.
He's got a bunch of title fights. He's never beaten a contender, but he talks a lot, so the UFC rewards him. And that was not lost for this event. There wasn't a ton of hype, I don't think, for this fight. Like when they announced it, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like they're really doing it. Colby still hasn't beaten anybody to destroy it or to deserve it. And there wasn't really much hype until they did the press conference. Colby shows up dressed like fucking George Washington with a MAGA hat on. Shout out Regen, thanks for joining. He says, "Finally, Colby's reign of terror comes to an end." I think, God, I'm so happy. It was just cathartic to watch. But the pre-fight, there's not a lot of shit talking. I think Leon's whole game was like, this guy's like so beneath me that he doesn't even deserve the title shot. That like, I just need to get through this and then we can continue. And he wasn't really entertaining anything. And then in the press conference, Colby says something like, "I'm going to drag you to deep waters, drag you to hell for that fight. Oh, while we're down there, go ahead, say hi to your dad down there," because Leon's dad is dead and was murdered. And yeah, I think when he was like 13 years old or something crazy like that.
Super young, yeah.
Super young, super fucked up to say. I get it, you're selling a fight, but sometimes things go a little too far. But it worked because all of a sudden everybody was talking about it. Dana said that the pay-per-view, the pre-buys went up like 25% after that. So if anybody doesn't understand why he gets title shots, that's why. And it's crazy because he's not even good at trash talking.
Not
Like
really.
he's
Not
really
really.
not good at it.
He practiced that line in his shower like 27 times and then went out there and still fumbled it. Like
He's
that was
still
bad.
messed up.
He still messed it up. He's like, I'm gonna
That
take
was
you to
crazy.
the depths of hair or some shit.
Yeah, he said hair. It's crazy. Regen says, "I saw so much racism and hate in the comments this week. Colby fans are literally the worst, man." Yeah, I was telling Ramiro yesterday early in the morning, like Colby is a magnifying glass on everything that's not everything, but a big thing that's wrong in America and mixed martial arts. He really highlights two really negative things about our country and the sport. The guy gets gifted title shots because he talks, and look, the best thing in his career was 2 losses to Usman. Outside of that, there's really nothing of note at all. Um, People are like, "Oh, but he swarmed everybody." He swarmed 40-year-old Robbie Lawler after his
Yeah.
title run. He beat welterweight RDA after his lightweight title run. Uh,
Yep.
he hasn't finished a fight since Max Griffin back in like 7 years ago. Um,
There's a reason they don't show his opponents on all those highlights because you don't recognize him.
yeah, I mean he has some faces, right? RDA, Robbie Lawler, Tyron Woodley, but it's all way past their prime. It's nobody was still
Yeah.
good when he beat them.
He's doing
You
the
know?
Floyd Mayweather against Tyron, like waited until he was absolutely decimated before he went in there and like did anything to him.
Yeah, and even that, like he technically finished that fight, but wasn't it Woodley who like cracked a rib while he pulled a guillotine?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even like Colby didn't finish it. But yeah, so I mean
Gravity
he
did.
hasn't. Gravity did. He's beaten no contenders. He's gotten a bunch of title shots. Granted, the Usman fights were incredible, especially the first one. I mean, it was like amazing, but that had more to do with just the style matchup more than anything. Two pressure wrestlers that canceled the wrestling out, and there were two mediocre strikers at that time, so they swang and banged. So it was a
Yeah.
fun fight.
And this fight could have been fun too, but I don't know what it was, but like from the ring of the first bell, Colby didn't want to. He just didn't want to be there. Like he just wanted to cash the check. Like he did
It
not
was
want
weird.
to
Yeah,
participate at all.
it was weird. And I don't know how much of that is Colby, and I don't know how much of that is Leon. It's probably a little bit of both. Obviously, everybody's talking about the layoff that Colby had, but on the flip side of it, I saw the guys from Fight Metrics put a tweet out that Leon's best skill is getting everybody to fight at his pace. And going into this fight, Colby fought at like a 4.6 strike per minute or something like that, and in this it was like a 1.7 or something like that. I mean, he just slows people down, and he did really good things just right off the get. He went straight to the center of the octagon. He didn't get his back against the fence. He's throwing that front kick up the middle, even though it's a foot away. It's still showing, hey, if
Hmm.
you shoot, there's something up the middle for you. The leg kicks were money, great distance management, and Colby just really couldn't turn the pressure on like he usually does. And I think, like I said, some of that's probably on the layoff. Colby, it's a weird kind of position to be in. But on the flip side, I think Leon is just that good at feinting and making you guess where strikes are coming and thinking about what happens if I do this. And you get in your own head, and all of a sudden you're down 4 rounds to none.
Yeah, if he just got Colby like waiting the whole time, and like he just waited too long. Like he was like, "Oh, I'll go when this happens," and then that came, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'll wait till this happens." And it's just like you gotta at some point you gotta put your foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, I'm looking at the strikes or the stats right now. If we look at significant strikes, Colby landed 10 in the first round and
I was gonna
13.
say 7. Yeah, it sounds about right.
He landed 7 in the third. Um, I mean, and look at his leg. Look at the thigh there. I mean, after the first round, his
Oh,
thigh was
yeah,
completely bruised. It was crazy.
super purple.
Uh, Region says Leon's pressure and leg kicks in those first few rounds is what caused Colby to look like that. I think that is a huge factor in it. Because you can't plant and drive for a takedown if your leg is chewed up. You just
Hmm.
can't. Um, and anytime you try to get something going, Leon's just so good at. One thing that was the most impressive for me was Leon's ability to not follow and to actually cut the cage off, because the second Colby had his back against the fence, Leon's right in front of him. He's not following him, because sometimes Colby can guide you to follow him as he circles away, and then he'll pivot and angle off with like a couple flurry punches, and then all of a sudden your back's against the fence because you were following. He can manipulate that, and Leon's just so measured and just cutting him off and not following him that he never really got the chance to pivot around him.
Yeah,
Um, the other thing that was really good was the front kick up the middle to the body. Once he started, because first he was throwing it high and just missing with it, but just showing it, and then he starts digging it to the body, and it's like that can't feel good. If you're a cardio king, that's the worst thing to eat is is front kicks to the body. Um, what did you think about Leon's wrestling?
well, I mean, Leon's wrestling is always good. It's just
Yeah,
it's always defensive wrestling, and
hmm
he used it to perfection on this fight. Like there was no real situations where Colby definitely did some big negatives in that, like he shot in one shot and it didn't work and he kind of just stopped. He wouldn't like
hmm
continuously wrestle into the next thing, which is something Kamaru did to great effect
yeah,
against Leon. And then like anybody who's wrestled Leon and taken him down, it's never the first shot. So I
yeah,
don't know what in the film thought, or it might have been just like the week of like Colby just didn't have the gas tank or something, but usually you see him like wrestle from one shot to another, and this one he just like
hmm
he shot once, it failed, and he was like, okay, well I'll get him on the next one, and it's like no, the next one needed
yeah.
to come 30 seconds ago.
Well, yeah, and I think shout out Wide Body Media. It says if Colby can't ragdoll his opponents, he's no good. Yeah, agreed. One thing too that Leon did really well was Colby likes to shoot on the outside, where he'll go outside the lead leg and reach down and grab it, and his
Yeah,
head's on the outside. But Leon, every time he shot like that, Leon would literally, instead of going for underhooks, he literally would just grab his neck and move his head to the center and not let it be on the outside. And then he threatened with this ninja choke that was, I mean, locked in until, I mean, Colby did a great job escaping that. But I think just making him pay too every shot. Um, and like normally, like you said, Colby chains, but his chain isn't like, it's not like the Dagestani like style chain wrestling. It's more like he'll shoot, pop back up, hit you with a couple punches, and then he's dropped under
yeah,
again. Like it's just like constant shoots.
pressure.
He'll pressure you. He'll drop a takedown just to land a couple punches to make you think, oh shoot, and then he's down below again. And like that just wasn't there because, like you said, Leon's counter wrestling is very, very good. I think Leon, people think of Leon as like an outside kickboxer, which he is, but his clinch work, not just takedowns or grappling on the ground, like actually on the ground, but his clinch work specifically is very, very good.
Yeah.
Um, and he got a couple takedowns of his own. He had a really cool sweep as well. He threatened with that inverted triangle. I was like,
Hmm.
dude, if he inverted triangles right now, that would be amazing. But instead, he-
It was a cool little sequence. I think it was like I don't know if it was like near the it was near the beginning of the fight, but where like Colby
Mhm.
missed a takedown and then Leon was like, "Oh, well, I'll just take you down and then stand right back up just
Yeah,
to prove a point." That was
yeah.
so awesome. And then the
Well, he did that a
commentary
couple
team,
times.
yeah, and then the commentary team were actually smart enough to point it out because that's always a
Yeah,
big thing. Is like fighters will do these things. It's just like fuck you, and then the commentary
yeah,
team are like, "I didn't see that."
yeah, yeah. And like, shout out to the commentary. Rogan during the fifth round was insufferable, but um, at a certain point, DC is literally talking about like, what did he say? He was like, uh, "Oh yeah, this high kick was sick too." And that's again another example of making him pay because this was right after a failed takedown, I
Yep.
believe. They stood up and he immediately head kicks him. Um, and to Colby's credit, he took it right, took it to the back of the head. There's a good front kick to the body. Um, you know, it was just I think it was a masterclass from Leon. Regent says Leon had the perfect game plan to deal with everything Colby brings to the table. Yeah, like
So
Leon
nothing.
is yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like the pressure, right? He completely took that off. Colby should drop down to 155. He's done at welterweight. I think he's done at the high level of the sport, regardless of the weight class. Um,
He's got a Chael Sonnen career in front of him.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, this was similar, similar to when Chael fought John, and it was like
Yeah,
he doesn't deserve this.
but
He
it's
talked
happening.
his way into this. It's happening, and it's definitely the last chance. You
Yeah,
know, um, hilarious that Trump was in the front row, and Colby just completely shit the bed in front of his like idol.
yep. After
That was
walking
fucking
over there and shaking his hand before the fight.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was yeah. Like I said, this was incredibly cathartic. I've been a Colby hater for a long time. I don't like when guys like talk trash and like there's the archetype of like the shit talkers, right? Like Chael, Colby, Connor, like all these guys. Um, but then there's the guys who like actually back it up too when they fight. And Colby's just never been that guy to me, like whatsoever. So it's like there's nothing behind the words, so like I just don't care about them, and
Yeah,
like it's just I don't know, he's corny, but Leon very skilled. I see some people saying like Leon should have done more. He should have done more. Like kind of a bizarre performance from him, and it's like, dude, why? There's literally no need to, and
also, if he had done more, he may have worked himself into a position where he got himself
yeah,
too worked up, like about the father comment or about
yeah,
whatever, maybe about some other bullshit that we didn't hear about that he heard about. And then he
hmm
works himself into a position where, Colby pulls out a Chael Sonnen where he was, or Anderson Silva, where he was losing all 5
oh
rounds and
yeah,
then fucking get something crazy at the end. So
yeah,
Leon did exactly what he should have done that whole fight. Like, there's no reason to
100%.
go absolutely ape shit.
And like you know, at the end of the fight, Colby ends up on top, landing some hammer fists that were like hilarious. But
Yeah.
for like, I think he had like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes of top control in the fifth round. He landed one significant strike that round, by the way. Um, but yeah, he had 3 minutes of top control in the fifth. He ended the fight on top. And the whole time, Rogan's like, this is a bad look if you're Leon to end the fight like this. And it's like, well, hold on. This isn't ending the fight getting rocked by Nate Diaz. This is
Yeah.
him being okay off his back for the last round because the threat of being on the ground with Colby is not that he's going to finish you, it's that I'm going to be exhausted for the later rounds, and the fact that it was already over, he can just lay the and there's literally no danger of being there
Yeah.
for those last 3 minutes. And I
At
thought
all.
him staying there, in my opinion, just made it like more pathetic for Colby. The
Yeah.
fact that he was like, I don't need to worry about anything here because you don't finish fights in the
Yeah.
past
Also,
decade.
like you finally got what you wanted, and you still did. You were never going to do anything with it. Like if this had happened every
Yeah.
single round, you would have just like you're telling everybody with this last minute or 3 minutes or whatever that you were going to do nothing the whole fight. That
Yeah,
was your game plan.
there's just no threat to finish the fight. So, like if he had that 3 minutes of top control at the end of the first or the end of the second or even the third, then it's like, oh, you have an interesting fight on our hands. But the fact that it was the end, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then Colby springs up, the fight's over, he springs up, puts his hands up like he won, and it's like, dude, you used more energy and you looked faster in that moment than you did at any point
The
during the
entire
fight.
the entire fight.
Yeah. Shout out Keith saying, hey, gents, Colby looked horrible. Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, he reacts like he won the fight. He said he in the post fight press conference he said he thought he won 3,
So
4,
it's
and
all a
5.
matter of perspective.
Yeah, you can never lose if you don't think that you lost.
Ask Sean
But
O'Malley.
yeah, but it was also pretty great to see the whole crowd booing him in his post-fight interview, and then usually he's getting those boos and stuff because he's talking a bunch of shit, and then he's like, "But you know what? I want to thank all the troops, all the first responders, and all." And then the crowd like shifts to cheering, and then this time it just didn't happen. They just kept booing him through that. So that was great to see. And then he ends
Yeah.
it with like "fuck you guys," which was also great.
He
But
just
yeah,
doesn't know how to stay a heel. He's like, I'm gonna flip flop, and he's just like, nah, nah, nah,
yeah.
nah, nah, nah.
It,
No one's
yeah,
having it.
it just seems like everyone's like, it's just an act, it's just an act, it's just an act, and it's like that makes it worse. Sometimes that makes it worse. We know Connor's an asshole. Like, so like when he trash talks, it's like, damn, what an asshole. And
Yeah,
then when
and when
it's
he's being
Colby,
nice, we know that's the act.
yeah, exactly. It's like John Jones. When he starts talking about God testing him, and he talks like real soft
Everyone
spoken. You're
stops
like,
listening. We all know.
yeah,
You run over
but
pregnant women, bro. We know.
yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what Colby does next. I saw someone say he'll have to fight a contender next, and it's like, please no. First off, he's never fought a contender, so I don't think he will this time. Secondly, he's got to be out of the top 5. A performance like that, you have to be out of the top 5. You know, um, what's next for Leon? It's going to be either Shavkat or Bilal.
You got to give him Bilal, but they're gonna try to give him Shawkat.
Yeah. Keith says
Bilal
apparently if
deserves
Colby
it.
won, there was a plan to have Trump put his belt on instead of Dana. Yeah, that's what Colby was saying. I don't know if that was going to happen with Secret Service and stuff, but I'm glad that
Dana would
didn't
have let it
happen.
happen.
Probably. Yeah. Got Kid Rock in there too. What a joke, dude. Um, Regent says Dana said that was just one of Colby's lies, just like
Well,
everything else.
yeah, because Dana keeps everything at arm's reach. He's not trying to be
Yeah.
associated with any of that bullshit, but
But
he definitely
also,
wants it to happen.
oh yeah, I was gonna say he said that because it didn't end up happening, so now
Yeah,
he can say that.
exactly.
But if Kobe won, I would not be surprised if he let that happen. But I don't know if Secret Service would let that happen. To be honest, that's
Yeah.
you can't put a former president in there. But yeah, so they'll probably do Shavkat. They'll probably skip Bilal. We'll talk more about that after we cover the Shavkat fight. Shout out Ganskow says give Colby Bilal. I don't think so. Colby, I think Bilal is. I think that's too big of a reward for Colby.
Yeah.
Giving him someone who's a fight away from a title shot or waiting
Who
for the title
deserves a
shot.
title shot?
Yeah,
Not
I think
even
he needs to
one
get.
fight away. He deserves it already.
Yeah, he just needs to get dropped further. He's
Give
just
him 8
not.
or 9.
He's just not relevant. The last time he beat a ranked welterweight, I think someone said it was like 2017 or 18 or something like that. He needs to prove himself, and not against a number 1 contender. Because what happens if he beats Bilal? He gets a 5th title
Shot
shot.
again?
Like we just can't have. I cannot have that. Regent says, "I hope you guys talk about the Strickland Duplessis fight." Yeah, we definitely will. Probably
during
after
the Irani.
Yeah, maybe there
Because
or
that's when it
maybe
happened, right?
I think so. I don't remember when it happened. Keith says
Because
the
that's when
stage
John
Strickland
Anik.
Duplessis brawl.
Yeah, because
Come
that's
on,
when John
McMahon.
Anik was like during the broadcast. He was like, "Oh, there seems to be a brawl going on in the crowd."
Yeah.
I think it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
the 3rd round of the Irani fight.
Okay. We'll probably cover it at the end of the episode. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Extracurriculars.
Extracurriculars. Yeah, exactly. But we can move on. Leon looked fantastic, I thought, in this fight. Just so well
Colby didn't.
rounded. Colby didn't. So all is well in the world. Leading up to this, I was like, man, I think Leon's gonna win because all of my boys are losing tonight, and
That's usually what happens.
that's usually that's how it goes. Usually, the good guys usually lose.
Yes.
Except sometimes they don't, and this was one of those cases.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.